that really pushed. That was a really smart thing for Burger King to do. Like Burger King now
Hmm.
is like dead, bro. Like I think there's one Burger King in like a 50-mile radius from here. Like there's like none of them around.
I prefer Burger King over McDonald's any day.
What is wrong with you, Wes? What are you talking about? I prefer old Domino's. I prefer new Burger King. What are you talking about, man?
Yep, I prefer. I've always preferred Burger King over McDonald's any day of the week.
Welcome to the Nerd Enthusiast Gaming Podcast, where today we're going to be discussing brand mascots, sometimes also known as corporate cash grabs, depending on the situation. We're going to be discussing some games that are, incorporating their mascots, Disney games that are incorporating their mascots, and then we're going to wrap things up with a pulse check, talking about Frogger for the 2600 and Star Soldier Vanishing Earth on the Nintendo 64. But before we get into that, just a quick bit of housekeeping, and we're going to throw in some retro stuff in the beginning for you guys, so stay tuned for just a minute. Housekeeping. Don't forget to follow us over on Patreon and subscribe over there. If you guys like what you hear today, you can start at the $1 tier. We have a $5 tier as well. You guys can get exclusive ad-free access to a variety of our content over there. Additionally, if you like what you hear, please consider just giving us a 5-star review over on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That really does help us out, and it's totally free, so it just takes a few moments of your time. We would greatly, greatly appreciate that. With me, as always, is my good friend Wes. Wes, how you doing, man?
What's going on, buddy? I'm good.
Not much, man. Ready to talk about some games? Convention season's coming up. We're right
Convention.
there.
I'm excited. I'm excited. Looking at this list of games, man, is bringing back some good old memories. So I'm excited.
Heck yeah. So let's start out with the Retro Classics. This was announced by Xbox just a few days ago. Retro Classics has a variety of games listed on their site. It's actually an app, so if you have Xbox, you can download the Retro Classics app. I'll read the article this beginning to it. A variety of new updates are available this month across our gaming platforms. Blah 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 blah. We're thrilled to announce the launch of Retro Classics, a collaboration between Xbox and Andstream Arcade, available to play for Game Pass members globally. Starting today, Game Pass members can dive into a collection of 50 plus classic Activision games from the 80s and 90s, including beloved titles like Commando, Grand Prix, Kaboom, MechWarrior 2, 31st Century Combat, and Pitfall. This initiative is a step in our commitment to game preservations and backwards compatibility, allowing our players to experience many timeless games on modern devices. And it goes on from there. But I've checked this out already. Wes, have you checked it out? What are your thoughts on the Retro Classics?
I have checked it out. I have checked it out. I like it so far. It like you said, it's all Activision games. I can't wait to see if they add more to it outside of Activision. But it's the majority of it is Atari 2600 games, and I fell in love because that was my era. I grew up playing Atari, and playing those games just kind of took me back.
Nice, man. Which ones have you checked
Yeah.
out so far?
I did Pitfall. I did Demon Attack, um, which got kind of hard. Maybe it's harder than I remember. I don't know. There's a couple different ones. Kaboom.
Nice.
Yeah, just a Laser Blast. Yeah, so there was a couple that I was like, oh man, I remember playing this, and it's just as I remembered it. So far so good. So far so good. They only have one PlayStation game and one Super Nintendo game, and they're both Mech Warrior.
Yeah. Those were
But
Activision made too, I'm assuming, right?
yep,
Everything in there is Activision.
everything in there is Activision.
Yeah. I checked
So
out MechWarrior. It was
mhm.
better than I thought it was going to be. I was like, oh my god, I'm going to emulate a PS1 game. Here we go. Let's see how this thing runs. And it was about the same as a PS1. I mean, it was there was a little bit to be desired, I would say,
Okay.
but it was playable. I'll give it
Okay.
that. It was playable. It's just games from that era just move really slow, and it's like feels like everything's covered in molasses. But it's okay. It worked
Yeah.
fine. It's
Uh-huh.
just it wasn't exhilarating.
Okay. Did you play any of the Atari stuff?
I played Pitfall for a while.
Mhm.
I forgot how slow that game is. My God, it really takes a while to move around. And then I played another game that was like highly rated, but I never played it before, and I can't. I wish I could remember the name of it. And it was actually quite fun. Maybe it's listed on here somewhere. Does not look like it. I can't remember what the hell it was called. Yeah, I don't know. But it was an Atari 2600 game, and
Okay.
it was quite fun. So I think it's a good start. Like you said, it's, there's
Mhm.
like 30 or so games. They can't just have Activision games. Like they really got to figure out a way to get other stuff on here. And I know that Antstream is something you can subscribe to and pay a monthly fee
Mhm.
for. But as you and I were discussing earlier, I had enough subscriptions, man. I'm not paying another subscription to play the
Tell me about it.
1,300 games that are on Antstream. So if they want to incorporate that into Game Pass, I'm all about that. That's fantastic because I'm only going to pay for one subscription on there.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, I mean, all the streaming movies, apps and stuff I'm paying for, and still paying for Game Pass, and yeah, it's like I can't do another subscription. But Andstream it looks impressive. Looks impressive, and if they can incorporate that into this, and keep it the way it is, I think it'd be great.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what Antstream can do with like the beginning. That's why I had to play the 32-bit game. I was like, this is obviously going to be the most taxing
Hmm.
on streaming. Let me see how it is, and it was all right. Like I said, 2600 games are probably a piece of cake to stream without any kind of
Hmm.
input lag or anything, or at least minimal. But the like twitchy first person shooters, like that's going to be interesting to see how eventually when they get to those, like how those run and actually work.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But so far, they're off to an okay start. I'm not complaining.
So let me ask you another question really quick. We got some 3200 or 3200. We got some 2600 games on there. There's a few other Atari games on there. Forget about Atari for a second.
Hmm.
What else do you want to see be available on there? And let's make the cutoff 32-bit because I can't see them going beyond that at least anytime
Yeah,
soon.
no, definitely not. I would like to see some Genesis.
Yes.
Definitely some Genesis on there. I would like to see more Super Nintendo
Mm-hmm.
on there. I'm trying to think. Maybe some TurboGrafx.
I
That
would
might
like
be
to see
pushing it.
some Master System stuff because I think that would be easy
Uh,
to
Definitely.
do, and I'm really not that familiar with the library, so like I would be really interested in if they added some Master System stuff.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I totally forgot about the Master System. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, I mean NES, I'm sure they'll get. They're not going to get Nintendo games. Let's be clear about that, right? The ones that are
Hmm.
owned or distributed by Nintendo, they're not going to get their hands on those. But I mean, there are other NES games that they might be able to bring over, which would be pretty cool too.
We can just wait and see and hope.
Absolutely. Maybe they'll get some of that Saturn emulation going, huh? Let's see some of that happening.
Oof, I don't know, man. The Saturn had their version of Mech Warrior, and it looked awful then. So I can only imagine what it would look like.
Yeah, but it'd be cool to see. I mean, I know Saturn emulation is pretty difficult, but apparently they're getting better and better at it. So
Okay.
we'll see how it comes. Saturn's not going to come anytime soon, though. We're going to see the other stuff way before then. All right, it's time for brand mascots and their games. So, as I mentioned earlier, some of these are probably corporate cash grabs. We got to start out with one of them. That is that Yo Noid.
Definitely. Definitely a cash grab.
The Noid is bringing a slice of joy this holiday season in his new action-packed video game from Capcom. Yo Noid is now available for you and your family to enjoy this Christmas.
Cash grab, Domino's. Who liked Domino's back then? Nobody. It's actually not too bad now, but back then it was trash. If you're eating Domino's, you're eating garbage.
Really? Okay. See, I'm the opposite. I
What,
hate Domino's now. Then Domino's was good.
Wes?
Yep. Nope. Can't do it. Can't do it now.
You've got to be kidding me. They
Kid
were
you not,
horrible
man.
back then. Domino's was terrible back then.
Maybe it was my Domino's because my
Okay.
Domino's, their pizza was good. Like now, my kids are like, hey, let's order Domino's, and I cringe. I'm like, ugh. Only if I really have to.
Here's what I'll tell you about the new Domino's. They make a pan pizza. Very good.
Mhm.
That's usually what I get from there is a pan pizza.
Okay. All right. But anyway, they did have a mascot back in the day.
Yes, they had a mascot named Yo Noid, who was
Yo
this little weird
Noid.
red guy with like antenna. I guess was he an ant? What the hell was he?
I don't know.
Yeah, I
But
don't
he
know the
was
history.
he was designed, I guess, to because Domino's back then promised your pizza 30 minutes or less.
Mm-hmm.
And the Noid was there to disrupt that and, take long time for your pizza to get there. But that he was like he was there to thwart Domino pizza deliveries.
Annoyed hates hot quality pizza. He loves to make your hot pizza ice cold. Call Domino's Pizza and avoid the noise. We keep the cold out and all this quality in. So when you want quality pizza hot and delicious, Domino's Pizza delivers. One call does it all.
Yeah, so somebody was like,
Hey,
this is gold. We have to make a video game out of this.
let's make a game out of this.
I've never played the game. I don't know much about it, but I mean, it's got to be trash, right? Like,
I didn't play it. I never played it.
oh,
Never
okay.
played it. Never played it. I know what it is. I know what the Noid is. Like I said, and I remember the game coming out. I never actually played it because I kind of had no interest.
Well, I'll leave it up for you guys to debate. You guys can tell us if it's good or not. We haven't played it. I don't really have an interest in playing it either, so I doubt that's happening anytime soon.
The next mascot though, you and I both played it. We spoke about this game numerous times on our videos, and that's Cool Spot for
Yeah, and Cool
7 Up.
Spot is one of the games where it doesn't matter
Yeah.
if you get the SNES or the Genesis version. They are both very good.
They were really good. 7 Up, the little dot, the little red dot on the bottles. They turned them into a mascot, and they made a video game out of it, and it was actually really good.
You know, like everything else in the '90s, throw some sunglasses on him, and he'll be cool.
Make them cool, yeah. Put little sneakers on them.
Yep. I mean, I feel like nobody drinks 7 Up anymore. Anyways, like, I feel like they really died when that little character died. When's the last time you got 7 Up, Wes?
I don't know. I kind of stopped drinking soda like years ago, so
Okay.
I don't know. Is 7 Up still around?
Oh yeah, it's still around. I don't know
Okay.
who's drinking it, but it's there.
Okay. Because I know they got rid of one of them. To Starry now took their spot. I don't know which one it was. I think Sprite's still around. Or
Sprite's still around, yeah. So you're saying that Starry replaced 7 Up, or are they just like
I
a
don't
third
know.
one?
I think it's a third one. Sierra Mist. I think Starry replaced Sierra Mist. So I guess 7 Up is still around.
Yeah, it's still there as far as I know.
Okay.
I just don't know who's drinking it. They don't
I
have a
don't,
cool mascot to make you want to drink 7 Up anymore.
I don't know. But Cool Spot, if anybody's interested, as far as the price wise, it's not crazy expensive. On the Genesis, a complete in box, you're looking at about $20.
It's a steal.
Super Nintendo, complete in box is a little bit more pricier. You're looking at $62. It is definitely well worth it.
Yeah, it's a good game. You're paying more for the cardboard on Super Nintendo, obviously. If you have a Genesis, get the Genesis version for $20. I mean, come on,
Mm-hmm.
it's a no-brainer. It's a quality game, surprisingly. Is it going to blow your socks off? No, but you would be surprised that it's of a certain caliber, right? Cool Spot goes to Hollywood. Now, this one I never played. If I remember correctly, didn't get the best reviews, but did you check out this one?
I did. I remember playing it back in the day when it came out. It wasn't as good as the first one. Still side scroller, platform type of game, with Cool Spot in it. But I didn't remember spending too much time on it, to be honest with you.
what I want everyone to think about for a minute is that first game must have been good because they made a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
It sold enough copies where they made a sequel to a 7-Up characters video game. Think about that for a few minutes. Let that sink in. Reflect on your life a little bit. What the hell? The next two, Wes, I don't know anything about.
You know what? It's funny because I saw these games out in the wild recently, and I totally forgot they existed. But as awesome as Cool Spot was, these two, from what I hear, are nowhere near as good, and that's the Chester Cheetah games.
I feel like I rented one of these, but I don't want to say which one because I don't remember. This was ages and ages ago, you know. This would have been in like the mid '90s, probably.
Mhm.
I was a little kid. I have no idea which one I rented. Or this was actually in the early '90s because by the mid '90s I would have had like an N64. So this was probably, well, maybe mid. Could have been like '94 or something like that. But yeah, there's Chester Cheetah, Too Cool to Fool,
Mm-hmm.
and Chester Cheetah Wild Quest.
And for those who don't know, Chester Cheetah was the mascot for Cheetos.
Chester Cheetah here in one red-hot slingshot, itching to enter that Cheetos production center. My cool takes a pardon as I go bombarding those Cheetos snacks he's guarding. The cheese that goes! Crunch. It's not easy being cheesy.
And I think he still is the mascot. I still think they do commercials with him.
He's still around.
Yeah.
But no games.
Cheetahs are all right. Cheetahs are all right. They're a little bit overrated. They're all right.
I like the crunchy Cheetos.
I prefer the puffs.
I like the crunchy.
They get all stuck in your teeth. Way worse than the puffs. The puffs I can usually get out. The crunchy ones will stay in there for a minute. The only thing good about the crunchy ones is when they put the, you get the hot ones. What the hell are those called? What are they called? The hot Cheetos? Is it just hot Cheetos? Is that what it is?
I guess.
You never had them? Wes?
I'm not crazy about hot stuff, so no.
Oh, man. I'm pretty sure they're just hot Cheetos. I don't eat them often, but those are pretty good.
Yeah, but as far as gameplay wise, I do remember them. Side scrolling again. I think everything back then was 2D side scrolling platforming type of game.
Yeah, I don't know if they were both like that, but certainly one of them was like that 100%. Because if I played one of them, it would have been that type of game for sure. But I mean, this is just kind of like the one early. I'm not gonna go buy these, Wes.
No. But we did buy the next games on our list, which was the Burger King games.
Oh yeah, I mean, I got all three immediately. Like the first day, I think you could buy all three of them right away. Like you could just ask them, and they would like sell you all three games.
Yeah. The Burger King, the fast food giant, had their mascot, the Burger King, in his own video games.
The Creepy King. That's what I'm just checking the prices now. The prices of when they came out. Burger King video games release price. Let's see.
I would say it was like $3.99.
You are correct, sir. $3.99 when they came out.
Yeah.
And now, if you save them for this long, West, you've really increased your value to a whopping $5 each, no matter which one you're talking about. And with inflation, I'm sure you lost money there.
Yeah, because there were three. There was Sneak King.
Yep.
There was what was it, the kart racing game?
Pocket Bike Racer.
Pocket Bike Racing, and then there was a third one.
Big Bumpin' was like
that's right.
It was like bumper cars, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Big Bumpin', trash. Get that trash out of here. Sneak King, everybody loved. It was okay, in my opinion. But I really loved Pocket Bike Racer. I was playing Pocket Bike Racer all the time.
Hey, motion capture, you guys set?
Set.
Let's get a good tracking on this.
Okay! Whoa! Oh!
You okay, King?
You alright?
The king's pain is your gain.
He's good.
Pocket Bike Racer, one of 3 new Xbox games, rated E for everyone. Make it a gift for $3.99 when you buy any value meal, only at BK.
I did, yeah. That was the one I played the most. I mean, I did Sneak King a little bit.
Me too.
I mean, the games weren't very long.
No, it was just something to mess around with. Like
Mm-hmm.
the fun thing about Pocket Bike Racer is it had online. Like you could play online against other people.
Yes, it
So
did.
I was loving that, man. I was talking trash, playing a stupid ass Burger King game, talking trash on Pocket Bike Racer. What a waste.
You know what? Those games were hugely successful.
Yeah, I'm sure that really pushed. That was a really smart thing for Burger King to do. Like Burger King now is like dead, bro. Like I think there's one Burger King in like a 50-mile radius from here. Like there's like none of them around.
I prefer Burger King over McDonald's any day.
What is wrong with you, Wes? What are you talking about? I prefer old Domino's. I prefer new Burger King. What are you talking about, man?
Yep, I've always preferred Burger King over McDonald's any day of the week. Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. How's that possible?
I just did, man. It's just how it is. Now, granted, if there was a White Castle's going to be my number one.
I only had a White Castle once or twice.
There's no White Castles near me, so it's Burger King.
Not a huge fan of White Castle. But the only memories I have of White Castle is eating and immediately having to go to the bathroom. Mick Kids on the NES. Played it a few times. Again, surprisingly, a good game. And it's like, I didn't write down the price, but I want to say it's under $20 for a loose cart. So not, crazy expensive. Obviously, if you want the box and stuff, it's going to be more expensive. But, quality.
What type of game was it?
Platformer. You're jumping around, you're side-scrolling, collecting some delicious fries, Wes. Better than Burger King fries, Wes. I forget what you do, but I think you do collect like McDonald's food, and like that's like your power-ups or like your energy or some BS. It's been a long time since I played it, but
okay. Right.
But it was good. It played better than you would expect, much like Cool Spot. Then we got another McDonald's game, which this one I've never played. McDonald's Treasure Land Adventures for the Sega Genesis. Now, usually Sega Genesis games complete in box, not that expensive because you got those plastic clamshells. Mm-hmm. Not the case with this one. $160 if you're looking for that today. For a McDonald's game.
I could picture the cover in my head. I never played it, but I remember seeing it, and I know exactly which game that is.
I can also see the cover. I don't remember what kind of game it was, but I would assume, just like the rest, that it's probably an action platformer. And it probably had a lower print run since there was, since there were $160, and the game is probably decent. That's just my assumption, though.
Okay, all right.
Next up, we got a Japan only game. Pepsi Man.
Yes, Pepsi Man.
Since we're going down this rabbit hole, before we even talk about the game, Wes, are you a Pepsi man or are you a Coke man? What do you got here?
Well, I said I stopped drinking soda a while ago.
Okay, but when you did,
I was a Dr. Pepper person. I'm just disappointing you all over the place tonight.
Dr. Pepper's fine. It's fine. But it's not acceptable to take it over a Coke or a Pepsi. Come on, man. Come on. If you had to pick a Coke or a Pepsi, if you went to a party and all they had was Coke or Pepsi, which one are you taking?
It doesn't matter to me. Pepsi, to me, Pepsi was a little bit more sweeter.
Okay.
I mean, I lived through the whole clear Pepsi or clear Coke.
Clear Pepsi.
Oh my God, it was like pure sugar.
Yeah.
God. So it doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't. My wife has always been she prefers Pepsi.
Okay.
over Coke. So yeah.
I thought I did too, but I was wrong.
Oh, so you're a Coke person?
I'll tell you a quick little aside, very quick aside.
Mhm.
During the late 90s, maybe early 2000s, they had something called the Pepsi Challenge.
We're hitting the road with the Pepsi Challenge to see if people prefer the taste of Pepsi or Coca-Cola. You like Coke?
Yeah.
So how many Cokes do you drink a day?
One at breakfast, one at lunch, and one at dinner.
You think we can change your mind?
You want to try?
Let's take the Pepsi Challenge.
Let's do it. I like that one.
What about others about 3 Cokes a day?
I guess it's going to be 3 Pepsis a day.
Which one are you going to take home with you today?
Take Pepsi.
In taste tests nationwide, more people prefer the taste of Pepsi over Coke. So take the Pepsi Challenge and let your taste decide.
And they would give you 2 cups, put Pepsi in one, Coke in the other, not tell you which one is which. Went to a concert. They had that Pepsi Challenge thing there. I took it 3 times in the same day. Always was a Pepsi person up to this point in my life. I picked Coke all 3 times, Wes. Immediately stopped buying Pepsi, started buying Coke. How could it be wrong? So their marketing worked against them.
In that instance, yes, it did. It did. It did. But we got Pepsi Man.
Pepsi, please!
So Pepsi Man, for those who don't know, was a hidden character in Fighting Vipers for the Sega Saturn
Yep.
in the Japanese release. After you beat the game, you know, if you did certain things, he would pop out. So they took Pepsi Man and put him in his own game for the PlayStation, and it was only released in Japan.
That begs the question, what the hell was happening in Japan during this time? Like, what was their obsession with this Pepsi Man? What was going on over there?
I don't know, but he was like a silver android, and he had like the yellow and blue Pepsi symbol like going down his chest.
You guys got to look up the game. I'll try to put a clip up or something for you. It looks like ridiculous. It's like an endless runner, sort of, right? Like he just keeps running, and you're jumping over crap, and like,
Yeah, and it was so funny because I was huge into importing then, and knowing it was coming out, me and my friends were like, "We have to get this game. We have to get this game." But it was so hard to get, even on an import side,
that's
because
crazy.
even like now to find a Pepsi Man imported for the PlayStation, it's $165.
Did you ever find it and play it?
No, 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 I did not.
You got to correct that wrong, Wes. You gotta find, when you go to too many games, you gotta find like a Japanese import section. Like, listen, I missed out on Pepsi Man when I was younger. I need Pepsi Man in my life.
I need Pepsi Man. You know, I'm going to add that to my list just to see if I could find it.
If you find it, snap a picture. Don't waste $160 on it. Just take a picture of it so we know you found it.
Oh, if I find it, I'm buying it just to have it in my collection.
Oh, man.
But then we had another famous beverage mascot.
Now, this I stumbled upon this doing research for the show. I had no idea that this even existed, but Kool-Aid Man.
Kool-Aid Man. Kool-Aid had a video game for the Atari 2600 and the Intellivision. I don't remember that game at all.
I didn't even know this existed until I started looking stuff up. But I imagine you're doing what Kool-Aid Man does and like breaking down walls. You're just like running through walls and like freeing hostages or something. I have no idea.
You know what? We were talking about this. I'm like, you know what? I have to find this. I have to play this. You know, on like an emulator or something, just to see what it is.
I mean, Kool-Aid was big in I guess it would have been like the late 80s, early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing those commercials. I remember asking for Kool-Aid. I don't know why that appealed to anybody. It was just a giant pitcher filled with Kool-Aid that was their mascot with a face on it.
Yeah, with the face busting through walls, and yeah, yeah, the Kool-Aid Man, the Kool-Aid house. Like my house was considered the Kool-Aid house because like all the kids hung out at my house.
Did you have Kool-Aid? Is that why they called
I don't know. That was like one of the commercials. That was one of the commercials back in the day. It
it?
was
Okay.
like the kids all hung out
Oh, I see what you're saying.
at the cool house, and then the mom always served Kool-Aid. Uh, I don't know, but anyway, if you find Kool-Aid Man for the Atari, it's actually like $60, like $58 right now,
That's surprising.
complete in box. So, yeah,
It probably also didn't sell well, which is why it's $60. I'd imagine there's probably like 10 copies in existence and no one cares about the
probably,
story. Maybe I'll add
probably.
Kool-Aid Man to my list and start scouring at SoCal for Kool-Aid Man.
It'd be interesting, but I'm definitely my interest is peaked, so I'm gonna probably play it just to see what it is.
Then we have the California Raisins. Now, I loved this show when I was a kid growing up. I don't know if it was in the 80s or 90s. I couldn't tell you when. But I remember watching it on TV. I don't know if it was like a short. They were like claymation though, I think.
Hmm.
And I really dug them. And there was a game which you didn't know about. I introduced this to you just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I
On the show.
did not know. I remember the show. I remember the specials, the California Raisins specials, because California Raisins, just I don't like raisins anyway. But then they turned their raisins into mascots and had TV shows, and
They sung and danced. They had like a
they
whole thing
did.
going on.
Look at the heck.
I hate raisins also. Hate them. They're gross. But I like the California raisins.
But the California Raisins had they had their own TV. They had their own TV movies. But then didn't they do like a Saturday morning TV show as well?
Maybe that's what I'm remembering. I really don't fully remember. I just remember there was like a claymation thing, and I enjoyed
They were all
watching.
claymation, yeah, yeah. But I didn't know they made a game. I never knew they made a game.
Yeah, yeah. If you guys could find a complete in box copy, it'll run you $90 too. And I have no idea what kind of game this is. It's probably a side-scrolling platformer, just like the rest of them, I'd imagine.
Most likely. I mean, if it's on NES, most likely.
Yeah. Next up, I'm just gonna lump these together. I don't have the energy to go through these one by one.
Just one big clump.
Yeah, like a big pile of them. There's a big pile of M&M's games, and there's probably some on more systems. I got exhausted researching this. So there's M&M's Mini Madness on the Game Boy Color. Then the Wii. I'm sorry. Then the PS1. There's Shell Shocked. Then the Wii came along, and there's at least 3 games on the Wii. There's M&M's Adventure, M&M's Kart Racing, M&M's Beach Party. I don't understand how these games sold enough for them to continue making them.
Because M&M's, the characters themselves are so popular.
Why?
Bro, the M&M's have their own store. Come on.
I know. I mean, they are delicious.
They are, but the characters themselves and each color has their own personality. The M&M characters are hugely popular. Hugely popular.
But
So
I don't understand why.
I don't know why either, but they are.
Here's another thing I don't understand about M&M's. This is an aside also. Wes, it's 2025.
Hmm?
I'm 40 years old. Can you explain to me why they've been showing the same Christmas M&M's commercials since I was like 10 years old?
Ow!
So you think Santa will like these red and green M&Ms?
I don't know. I never met the guy. He does exist!
They do exist. Santa?
Oh, the one
They'll
with
show
Santa
Yes.
sneaks in. Because
That commercial is ancient,
it's timeless.
but it's 2025. Isn't it time to make a new one? Isn't it time? If you like that commercial so much, just do it again. Make it different a little bit.
It's fine. It's one that will never age because it always fits.
When I'm watching my 4K HD TV and a commercial comes on that was designed for CRTs, it's very obvious it wasn't from this time frame. Like, it's from literally another century ago. What the hell? What are they doing?
But yeah, there's a bunch of M&M games, and so again, are they cash grabs just to throw out there? But obviously, the games were popular enough because they keep making them.
The only one that like even I would think about trying is probably kart racing. Like kart racing, all right, like a Mario Kart style games with M&M character. All right, maybe that works. But then we got Beach Party. What am I doing in Beach Party? Am I playing like volleyball with the M&M's characters? What are other beach games you would play? I don't even know. Are they drinking? That's what I like to do on the beach. Are these M&Ms getting wasted, Wes?
Probably not, because they were targeted for kids.
All right, so there's your M&M games. Speaking of drinking, Tapper in the arcade, Budweiser, awesome.
There you go.
And Tapper's a badass game, man.
I love Tapper. I love Tapper in the arcade. Could that be a brand mascot? No, but
not a mascot.
But Budweiser did make a game initially,
which is interesting. That's very interesting. Like a beer like video game. Like they had the foresight to do that, and probably the late 70s, maybe early 80s is when they came out.
It was an 80s game. It was definitely an 80s game because I remember playing it plenty of times in the arcade.
Eventually, they cleaned it up and made it root beer Tapper. So
root beer, correct. And I want to say it was sponsored by A&W, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
But you play as a bartender, and it has a tap, and you have to serve the patrons as they come along the bar, and you fill the cup up, slide the glass down, and
there's like 5 bars, and there's like a longer bar, and each as you go up the screen, each bar is a little shorter, so it's like it's very chaotic.
It's very chaotic.
If you like games like Diner Dash or something like that, that's it's not exactly the same, but it probably fills that same hole in your heart.
Yeah. Budweiser Tapper. It was really good. To this day, I enjoy it. I remember downloading it for 360, like when they had the arcade, and it was a little tough to play on the controller because I was used to playing it on the stand-up arcade cabinets. But it's classic.
That game is so good that I still go back. It's on my my Xbox. I can still go play it, and I still go back and play it today. Like if I see that on there, I'm like, play it for 5 to 10 minutes and I'm good.
Oh, yeah, that's all you need. That's all you need.
It's great. Great game.
It's all you need.
So we're gonna stop this segment here. We're gonna talk about some Disney games in a minute. But before we do, if you guys have any comments or recommendations that we left off, please drop a comment. Let us know. I'm sure we missed a bunch of stuff. Let's have that conversation in the comments. So go ahead and do that for us. We definitely appreciate it. Disney Interactive made a ton of games, or at least published them, or developed them. So they made a bunch of games throughout the 90s, which is where most of these are going to take place, probably into the early 2000s as well. Maybe some of these are in the late 80s also. I don't know if you could consider these brand mascots, right? Because Disney just owns the IP. So,
well, they were Disney characters. A lot of these games were based off were Disney-owned characters. So
they are mascots, though. I mean, I don't know if it falls in the same line as what we were talking about in our last video, which was all about brand mascots. These are mascots. They are Disney's mascots, right? But they're almost like independent because they're their own IP. You know what I mean? I don't know. You guys can debate this in the comments, but for now, we're going to talk about Disney Interactive games. We're going to kick things off with an awesome movie / game. Nightmare Before Christmas, PS2, and OG Xbox. Wes, have you played this one?
I did. Did you play it?
I have it. I have not played it.
It's very God of War like.
No way.
In the Yeah, God of War, Devil May Cry ish. It's an action game.
That's awesome.
It's an action game.
I'm about to fire up my PS2, Wes. Make me do it.
Yeah, it's set in Night Before Christmas universe, and yeah, it was. I remember. Oh man, I remember seeing it at E3 one year when they showed it to us, and I was like, "Oh, interesting. It looks like God of War, or that mechanic, that straight action game mechanic."
Did it follow like the same story as the movie, or was it like a sequel or a spin-off, or do you remember?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember. I
Well,
don't remember.
definitely something I would want to check out. On PS2, the game's going to run you about $50 today, probably about the same that it cost when it came out. If you want to save some money, be smart and get it on the Xbox. $31 on the good old OG Xbox.
I don't remember that coming out on Xbox. I vividly remember the PS2 version. I don't
Yeah,
remember
the PS2 version is the one I have. So I bet you it was probably like a lower print run also, just because PS2 was more dominant during that period of time. I don't know.
But the next Disney game, Disney, when we talk about Disney and their games, period, most of the time their games are really, really good.
Surprisingly, yeah. Like I would say 7 or 8 out of 10 times their games are good, if not great.
And this one, Castle of Illusion with Mickey, was top notch. Loved it.
Awesome game.
That's a classic.
It is. It was a really good game from start to finish, and it's also a good game for kids. Like if I think it's a pretty fair challenge for like younger children to play. It's not going to like break their brains. They're not going to get like crazy or anything like that. But it is also challenging. It's not like super easy either. It's really well balanced. It's really well balanced.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember there being a lot of like cheap deaths or anything like that. You get these balls and like you kind of throw the balls as like your weapon. There's a witch in the castle. I remember getting to the witch. I don't really remember what happens. It's been a few years since I've beaten that game, like 25 or 30 years. So I don't recall all the details. Like it just looks spectacular on the Genesis.
It did, because that's where I initially owned it, on the Genesis. Then fast forward to 360, it was available for download in their arcade. So I have it downloaded on my 360, and then you can also get it on your mobile phone, on smartphones. They released like a mobile version of it, and it plays fantastic.
Speaking of more Disney stuff, Quackshot. Wes, we're going to talk later about our lists for this convention. I gotta get Quackshot, man. I looked for this last year at SoCal. It wasn't. I couldn't find it anywhere. Maybe it was there and I missed it. But that's probably like out of all the targets I have, that's got to be like number 1 or number 2. Like I have to find Quackshot, especially because between last year and this year, it raised $15, which is great.
yeah, because now Quackshot will cost you about $45.
Yeah, it was 30 last year when I was searching for it.
Quackshot is on my list too. I surprisingly do not own that one. I thought I had it, but guess not. And now I'm on the hunt for it.
I never rented it either. When I was a kid, like in my head, Wes, right now I can see it in the video store sitting on the shelf and me just passing it by over and over and over again, just never renting it. And then I found out it's like, the true sequel to A Castle of Illusion. Like not, not literally a sequel, but like, if you liked Castle of Illusion, this is the game you should play.
This is the game you should get next.
I had no idea.
Yeah, man. I saw it last year at Too Many Games, and I didn't pick it up. But now I'm definitely going. It's on my list. It's on my list this year.
Yeah, you got to fill in those old holes from the the Genesis, man. Well, I told you that too. Like Too Many Games out, or not Too Many Games. SoCal Gaming Expo out here last year. There was hardly any Genesis games, man. Like there was some, but it was like a joke. It was like a joke. I was so disappointed. And you were like, "Oh, too many games. There was Genesis games everywhere." I'm like, "Yeah,
yeah, there were."
Let's actually go to World of Illusion next, which is technically the with the sequel to Castle of Illusion.
Correct.
Apparently not as good as Quackshot, but I also never played it, so I couldn't judge it. But another a sequel with Mickey Mouse in it,
Now, World of Illusion, that one had Mickey and Donald in it, correct?
I'm not 100% sure. I don't know, but I heard it was not as good as Castle of Illusion, and also not as good as Quackshot. So something to look out for, though. If I ran into World of Illusion, I would check it out just because. Like we were talking about, all the Disney games are at least pretty good for the most part. So I'm assuming you haven't played World of Illusion either.
Yeah, World of Illusion is Mickey and Donald. Because yeah, I do have World of Illusion.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I did play it. Was it better than Castle of Illusion? No.
But I would imagine it was still probably pretty good.
It was decent. It was decent.
Okay.
If I have to pick between the two, yeah, Castle of Illusion is probably the better of the two. Is one of my favorites.
And then speaking with the Mickey stuff, let's stick with that for a minute. Mickey Mania was on Sega CD. I had never owned a Sega CD. I still don't have a Sega CD, surprisingly. But
you got to get one. You got to get one.
I don't need more libraries to buy for with. Tell me about Mickey Mania, since I know you had a Sega CD. I'm sure you.
I do, yeah, and I do still have Mickey Mania. It was I don't want to say a Castle of Illusion, but it was a side-scrolling game where you kind of traversed Mickey's career.
Oh, so you started back in the 30s or whatever?
Yeah, there was like a Steamboat Willie level. Yeah, and it was like a similar like Castle of Illusion level, but yeah, you kind of went through different time periods of Mickey.
That's cool. But yeah, more side scrolling, which is pretty much all of these games. Now this game I don't think was a side scroller. I hated the movie, so I never even thought about playing the game. Tell me about Fantasia, sir.
You didn't like Fantasia?
No. My sister used to put it on. I used to want to bash my head into a wall. I was so bored with that movie.
It was the music. I mean, it was. We put it on. I remember growing up watching it, and I liked it, especially the Mickey scene, the Sorcerer's Apprentice scene, is what this game is based off of.
I mean, that was a cool scene, but I just. Mm-hmm.
But I remember
there was no talking, right? There was no story.
There was no story. It was like shorts set to operatic music or classical music. But I remember when my son was a baby and he would get kind of cranky, we would put on Fantasia and the music kind of soothed him and he kind of mellowed out.
I mean, that's cool. I think I was probably too old at the time for that to have its effect on me. I was probably
yeah, you were probably beyond that.
Yeah. You're not shooting anything. What is this? What is this crap?
But yeah, the Fantasia game for the Genesis, it's based off the Mickey segment. And he's like a sorcerer and you're fighting these brooms.
Remember the brooms. I remember the dancing brooms
that come to life. Again, it's another side-scrolling platformer. It was okay. Definitely, again, nowhere near as good as Castle of Illusion.
So that followed the movie. Then there was just the shorts were stages. I'm guessing.
It was more of just the Mickey stuff. I don't think the other stuff was included. It was just, from what I remember, it was just the Mickey stuff. But if I'm wrong, please leave a comment. But I really want to say it was just the Mickey stuff.
Okay.
It's like they made a whole game around that one segment.
Aladdin.
Awesome. Top notch.
I mean, we're talking about a top 5 Genesis game here. Super Nintendo's fine too, but I'm talking about a top 5 Genesis. This game is so damn good, and it looks so damn good.
Mm-hmm.
And it plays so damn good. You gotta have Aladdin.
It looked like it was ripped straight from the film. It looked so good and played so well, so smooth. The animation was so smooth.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing out there, if you don't have the game, this game sold a ton of copies. You can probably get it for $20 or less. Mm-hmm. Just because there's so many of them out in the wild. If you go anywhere and they have Genesis games, you're probably going to see a copy of Aladdin. Jungle Book also came out during this time, and we'll throw in Lion King with it because maybe they didn't come out like at the same exact time, but within that pocket, let's say a few years span. Jungle Book, better than Lion King. That's for damn sure. That game, Lion King, was hard as hell.
I was going to say Lion King is like almost impossible.
Yeah, the story behind that, to keep it short and sweet, it was they had to make it for like arcade, so they specifically made like the second or third level like hard as hell, the one where you have to like bounce in the trees and stuff.
Mm.
Uh, instead of being smart and fixing that in the console version, they just said, nah, just leave it in, it's fine. So, yeah. Luckily, we have the Disney Classic Collection, which is available on like Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and that one you can actually, rewind and stuff, so you can actually beat Lion King now without bashing your head against the wall.
Yeah, I think I picked that up for the Switch. It combined Lion King and Aladdin.
Yes, and then that is true. And later they released Jungle Book, which you could download separately, or you
Really?
could, they re-released the game that if you go to the store today, you're going to see the version with Jungle Book. If you have the cart, you can download the Jungle Book for like a few dollars, and it adds it into the game.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just have the one with the two with Lion King and Aladdin.
Yeah, I had that originally, but then I did download the Jungle Book one when that came out. And Jungle Book's a good game too. I would say below Aladdin, above Lion King. Toy Story. Never played it. Genesis, Super Nintendo. Maybe PS1? I think this might have came out on PS1 also.
Well, there were PS1 versions of Toy Story.
Mm-hmm.
I know there was a Buzz Lightyear for PS1, but Toy Story was based on the popularity of the movie. So of course they were going to do a game.
Yeah.
Side scrolling. You played as Woody. I remember playing as Woody. It was.
Yeah, you do some running, you do some jumping. It's fun.
Not one of my favorites.
Yeah, I had no ambition to play the game. I did enjoy the movie, when the movie came out, but
I mean, there's people that love it. When my store Level Up was open, we would get people looking for Toy Story a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure they're trying to like relive that, childhood memory. I'm sure they bought the game, played it when the movie came out, at least enjoyed it well enough for the time. Much like The Little Mermaid on the Sega Genesis. Again, I never played this game. Little Mermaid movie is a great movie. Never had an interest in playing the game. Know very little about it. I have no idea what it's like. I'm imagining it's like Echo the Dolphin. Maybe.
Never played it. I mean, at the time I didn't have any girls, so yeah, I wasn't buying Little Mermaid.
Yeah, me neither.
I was gonna buy it. And then there was also Beauty and the Beast that came out for the Genesis too. So now that one game was awful. Awful.
Never played that one either, so I will take your word on that.
Well, I remember getting it because then I wound up having girls, and yeah, it was awful.
I believe it. I believe it. Epic Mickey 1 and 2 originally came out on the Wii, eventually got ported to other consoles. This game was made by Warren Spector, who made a bunch of like really popular games. System Shock, right? He made System Shock, correct? I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
At least he worked on it, as far as I remember. But it was a big deal when he made Epic Mickey. I remember it was super popular.
Mm-hmm.
I remember playing it. I went to E3 one time, and this was one of the games I got to play, and it was surprisingly good. I ended up buying the game when it came out. I never finished it though, but it was a good game, especially for the Wii. It was a damn good Wii game, Wes.
Mm-hmm.
The sequel I did not play. What is your familiarity with Epic Mickey 1 and 2?
I was excited for the first one to come out because it looked really good, and I never did the second one. I did play the first one. I never finished it.
Okay, so similar boat.
But I did enjoy what I was playing at the time. So,
was Oswald in the first one too, or was that in the second one? Oswald was in the first one, right?
I think Oswald was in the first one.
But you had the paintbrush and like you were like painting and stuff. It was a cool game.
That's what happens when you get old. You can't remember a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think. I wonder how many times this episode we played or said I don't remember, especially me. And I'm younger than you.
I really want to say Oswald was in the first one because that was like because then yes,
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with a yes.
I'll back you up. I'll say yeah.
If I'm wrong, please let us know. But I want to say yes.
Now, this show I watched, but I'd never played any of the games, and that's Tailspin. And I liked the show quite a bit when I was a kid. But tell me about Tailspin with TurboGrafx.
You know, it was surprising to see a Disney game on a TurboGrafx. The game itself was not good. But for a TurboGrafx game, complete in box, you're looking about $62. So yeah, that was like the one and done for them.
Yeah, I mean that show wasn't around for many years. I don't think. I think that was only on TV for like, a handful of seasons, like 3 years, 4 years, something like that. Maybe I'm misremembering though.
Because I know Disney had their block.
Yeah.
Of animated shows, and then they try to do games based off those shows because not only did you have Tailspin, but you had Chip and Dale's.
Oh yeah.
You did 1 and 2. You had and then you also had DuckTales. So and both of those had games. Chip and Dale's had games for the NES. DuckTales was out for NES.
Yeah, the sad thing is I never played Chip and Dale 2 and I never played DuckTales 2. They're both a little harder to find. They're both kind of expensive. But the first ones I played on both, and they're both excellent NES games. Capcom did them both, I think. Definitely did Chip and Dale, and I'm pretty sure Capcom is the one who did DuckTales also. But
yeah, but DuckTales 1 complete in box for Nintendo was like $110.
Yeah.
But then DuckTales 2, $750.
Oh yeah. DuckTales, just the card alone is hard to find. Same thing with Chip and Dale too.
Did you do the DuckTales remake?
I did. And it was pretty good. It's pretty good.
Just as hard?
I don't know if it was just as hard. It might have been a little bit easier. You still had the pogo stick, that stick you're like, smacking stuff with the stick. I don't know that it was as hard. If I remember correctly, I think it was a little bit easier. But they also add stuff to those games that give you options. I want to say it had like rewind and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I could be misremembering things, but it's still a good game. I just the nostalgia's not there. I need to play the OG. I got to play the OG DuckTales. Got to play the OG Chip and Dale. The Disney Afternoon Collection is a great way to play some of those games as well. That was on Xbox One, Switch, PS4. Mickey Speedway USA. This is an N64 game made by Rare. Yes, the one Rare game no one talks about in the N64. Supposed to be a very good kart racing game. Yes, they also did Diddy Kong Racing, but this is not that. I never played it. I'm definitely interested in it. It's on my list to try to pick up, so I'll be looking out for that. Have you ever played Mickey's Speedway?
I didn't.
If you need yet another racing game for your N64, there you go. Now we're going to talk about, we didn't even look the prices up for these. We probably should have done that, but Disney Sports on GameCube, some of these are crazy expensive. Like I'm talking like $1,000, I think, for one of them.
What is it? The basketball, the Disney basketball one?
Yeah,
it's like $1,000.
Pretty sure it's like $1,000. Let me look it up really quick. But did you ever try any of these, Wes? Have you checked them out at all?
I didn't, and I saw them.
Oh yeah.
Being that I had kids and they were all into like the backyard sports series,
mm-hmm.
I don't know why I didn't pick these up. I can kick myself, but
I'm pretty sure I remember working at either EB or GameStop and like turning around and seeing like a stack of them, West, in the case, and they were on clearance and they were probably like $10 or $20.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sealed, yep. Just sitting there. No one bought them. God only knows how much we gave those away for, but $927 if you have a complete in box copy. of Disney Sports Basketball on the GameCube.
That went down.
If you
That
kept the
dropped in
sealed
price.
one, $2,688 is what they're going for today.
Wow. That's crazy, man.
And the game's
Why?
also terrible, by the way. It's got a 37 on Metacritic.
Why didn't we pick those up back then?
Why the hell would we want to? I remember looking at like, who the hell wants this? I was like, $10. That's way too much for this. Never like $1,000 complete. They're $1,000.
Like I said, I my kids were into the backyard sports, and normally I would pick up stuff to play with them, and I don't know why I didn't. But oh well.
Yeah, they also had football. Let's check that really quick.
Yeah, there was I want to say there was basketball, football, and baseball, or was it soccer?
It was soccer. Disney Sports Football on GameCube, $185 complete, 536 sealed.
Mm-hmm.
And then soccer, I imagine soccer's probably a little bit more, but I'm guessing. Oh no, I'm wrong. Soccer is only $65 complete and 188 sealed.
So basketball is the most expensive one
by far.
Yeah, man, we just ran through a whole bunch of Disney games, man. Disney made some really, really good games.
Yeah, they did. Despite us making this pretty comprehensive list, it's not totally comprehensive. So if you know of any games that we missed, go ahead and drop them in there. Obviously, we talked about most of the older generations. I'm sure there's newer Disney games. Who the hell cares? Eventually, people will care when it's old again. But yeah, if there's any good ones or something, shout them out. You know, if there's anything you think we deserved to talk about that we didn't, drop a comment, let us know.
Please do.
And that brings us to our pulse check, Wes. Today I have the low pick, you have the high pick. Why don't I get things started? Let's start it out on the low side of things. Frogger for the 2600. Probably my favorite Atari game for the 2600. We got a loose copy, $12.44. Breaking the bank over here, Wes. God forbid you want a complete copy. It's going to cost you a little bit more than Starbucks. $23.18 for a complete in box Frogger. And if you have a sealed one, a whopping $168.50.
For an Atari game, that's, I mean, complete in box, $23, it's worth it. Though, were you a big Frogger person back in the day?
So, one of the first time I played a video game that I remember was Atari 2600, and there was two games, Pitfall and Frogger. And I much preferred Frogger. I don't know which one of those two I played first, but I loved Frogger, and I played it all the time. In more recent years, I downloaded an Xbox 360 version. I still go back and play that one from time to time, but I'm fairly certain that's the arcade version of Frogger. But the 2600 version, I have no problem playing. It's totally acceptable.
Yeah, you know, and the concept of it was so simple. You were just a frog trying to get across the street.
Yep. And
you're just hopping along, and you're hopping on logs and avoiding the cars, and you know, getting your little patch.
Yep.
That's all it was. That's all it was.
It was simple fun.
It was simple fun. And you know, we talked about the retro classics on Microsoft.
Yeah, on the
they had Freeway, which was a Frogger ripoff.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You were chicken trying to get across the street.
Dude, I'll have to go back and play that. I probably enjoy that quite a bit. I had no idea that was like a ripoff version of Frogger.
It pretty much was. Instead of a frog, you were a chicken.
Okay, definitely interested in that now. Something else I can go back and play. What about you? Did you play Frogger back in the day?
I did.
Arcade 2600. Where were you playing it at?
I played it in the arcade.
Okay.
I played it in the arcade. Like I said, I lived in the arcade, so it was in those days, yeah. And then I was okay. I think I get to like maybe the third level, because then things start to speed up and the cars like fly by and yeah. I was okay at it. It wasn't one of my better games.
Much like Tapper though, like these older games, dude, it's just you just go in there and play for a few minutes. You're like, that was great. And you just move on with your day, not sucking the life out of you, taking forever.
Yeah, it's funny. The Retrocade by me, Starcade, has a Frogger machine in there.
Oh,
You know,
nice.
yeah, yeah, and it when I go in there, there's usually people on it, so people love Frogger.
It's classic, man. It's like Pac-Man. Not as popular as Pac-Man, but it's up there.
Yeah, and then they did kind of revamp Frogger for the PlayStation
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because
Yep.
you had Frogger's Frogger 1 and 2 for the PlayStation.
They made a Dreamcast version. I have a Dreamcast version of Frogger.
Yes, yes.
Crazy. And then we got your game now. This game I want to hear about because it's an N64 game that I'm not very
Mhm.
familiar with. Um, if I remember correctly, this did release in the U.S., but it was bigger in Japan. I don't know. Tell me about this game, Vanishing. Was it called Vanishing Earth? No. Yes. There it is. Star Soldier.
Star Soldier, Star Soldier Vanishing Earth. So this is my high pick. Nintendo 64 game. It was a shooter. It was a shmup. And really hard. Really hard.
Was that an ESRB release? Like, was that released in North America? Because I don't remember.
It is released in North America. Yes.
Cool.
It is an actual release. And it was titled something else in Japan. It was a different title in Japan when it came out, but it's a shooter.
Yeah, like a shmup.
Yep.
Not a first-person shooter for you kids. It's a shmup. It's an old school in a vehicle of some kind shooting.
What was it like? Like it was it's a space combat. Was it like what do they call that term? Bullet hell.
Bullet hell. Yeah,
it's one of those.
There you go, man.
Where you're a little spaceship shooting and trying to avoid being annihilated by the thousands of bullets that are coming at you. It was I love those games back in the day. I don't think I could play them now. My reflexes aren't as sharp as they used to be.
Yeah, I gotta play the easier ones too, man. It's like those, dude. It's too much. They are fun though.
They are fun. They are fun. But as far as pricing, like a loose cart is $58. If you want to go complete in box, you're looking at $277.
Okay, it's getting up there.
So it's a little pricey for an N64 game. And then if you want to go sealed, you're looking at like $379, like just under like $380.
Oh, that's surprising. You would think that would be even more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess most people are probably looking for the complete in box, if anything.
Yeah, I want to say this is one of the pricier N64 games. It's not the most expensive, but complete in box, it's up there.
That's cool, man. That's cool. You have a copy of it. That's awesome. It's a game. I know a lot of the N64 library, but I haven't heard of that one before. I was like, oh, that's interesting. What the hell is that?
No, you never heard of it? No, at all?
No, I mean, I don't know every single game of the N64, but I was a big N64 kid, so and I was obviously working in game stores a little bit after that, and at that time we still carried N64, so I seen a lot of copies come in, and I don't remember ever seeing that game ever.
Okay. Yeah, it was a shooter, so I was like all about it.
Nice. Yeah, maybe they'll add that to the Switch Online because they have N64 games in there, so maybe I can check that out one day. That would be cool. All right, guys, so that wraps up our show for the day. Thank you guys for your support. I want to give a shout out to Bernardo over on Patreon. Thank you so much, Bernardo.
Thanks, Bernardo. Appreciate you so much.
If you guys like what you heard today, please consider supporting us over there as well. You can support us for as little as $1 a month. The money that you put in goes right back into help supporting, our channel and the company, and helping us continue to grow and build an audience. You can also give us 5-star reviews over on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. That also helps us out greatly. Wes and I would greatly appreciate that. Again, if you like what you heard today, please feel free to go ahead and do that. Make sure you guys drop comments, ring the bell, all that awesome stuff. You guys can check out our other content too. We have, on our main channel over on youtube.com/nerdenthusiast, you can find like poker content, music content. We got our music podcast back up and running. Please feel free to go check out that stuff over there. We have a blog on nerdenthusiast.com. We write all sorts of stuff. There's video game coverage, all sorts of things. I think We just did a music blog. We had like some wrestling up there a while back. Please check that out as well. Wes, thank you for joining me today, sir. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. It's always a pleasure.
If people want to follow you, where can they do so?
You can catch me on Instagram at Grendel5XBX.
I'm Matt. You guys can follow me over on Twitter at FromNJ2CA. The 2 is the number 2. Or X, or whatever you want to call it. All right, guys. Thank you for watching the show. You all take care.
Have a good one, guys.